this is Dirty McStunkton from the Dirty McStunkton Quartet, and I listen to Geoff and Whisp, but mostly Whisp, on the Geoff and Whisp Show.
108.9, The Hawk. I gotta tell you, Geoff, for my money, for my dollar, the dollar that I'm putting down and the dollar that I'm using to run this whole goddamn operation here, 108.9 The Hawk, there is no better rock album than Pyromania. Put it down. Mark it.
Put it down. Give it Bitcoin and make it into a Def Leppard coin.
God.
Oh, my God. Have you gotten any of the Def Leppard coins?
I haven't. I've been in my Coinbase account, and I just can't get the goddamn thing to load. It just says nope every time I'm in there, and I got to get my LEPS.
That means, though, that you're probably getting more money. That's usually what it means.
Probably getting. That's
if you can't load your Bitcoin bank, then that just means you got it just flowing in.
When they shut it down, that means there's just too much money going into your account, and they want to count every LEP that is leaping in to your Coinbase account.
I'll tell you why you're not getting it right now, why it shut it down.
Please.
It's because the account thought that we just played foolin'.
Oh.
And it's just like, wait a second, which LEP coin am I sending here?
Am I going to throw in an You know what I'm talking about? That's
I know the Globen, and that is one of the
Rock
best
of
coins.
Ages from Pyromania.
My God.
Oh, my God. If you're able to buy some LEPS this morning, get in there. It's the hottest crypto coin, just going straight up to the top. Get your LEPS. Oh, my God.
Get your LEP out. Pour some LEP on me.
Get your LEPS out like I'm going down a... Pour some LEPS on me. We could do this all morning long. But we won't.
It probably, still the account won't work, but...
I probably still can't get into my Coinbase at that point in time. Hey, everybody. I am the host of this show alongside of this tall drink of water. I'm Whisp Turlington.
And I am Geoff the Angry Man Garlock.
And by water, I mean the water you get in Flint, Michigan. Or in Charlottesburg. You're that type of tall drink of water.
Charlottesburg, you've never been able to drink the water there.
My God. Burns. It burns.
You have to even you can't even get bottled water in Charlottesburg because they're like, sorry, a little bit got in. Osmosis.
That's on the work shirts for the Charlottesburg Water and Power Company.
Oops,
it said,
a little bit got in.
Oopsies. Oh, and their little Calvin pissing picture is just Calvin pissing Charlottesburg water onto the Charlottesburg Water and Power Company. Did you know that?
Which is crazy. They had a version where Calvin was just pissing into his own mouth because it was cleaner than the water that came from the Charlottesburg Water Company.
I saw that on a truck yesterday, and I had my limo pulled over. I'm like, I got to laugh. I need time on the side of the road to laugh at a sticker of Calvin.
Oh, my God.
Pissing into his own mouth.
That's just a fact. If you see limos pulled over on the side of the road, it's because they were laughing because they saw Calvin pissing.
Too hard. And we're laughing
and sometimes they pull over just because they're saluting a Punisher skull.
Whoa, you got to pull over. Whenever you see a Punisher skull, especially one that has a blue line across it, just like Punisher would have had.
Just like Nick Castle would have had.
Nick
number
Castle?
one,
is that his brother?
Nick Castle.
No.
Yes, his brother
was the other Punisher.
His brother. He was a Jersey guy.
I see where you're going with
That's
this.
what you don't understand.
Clearly know what you're talking. It's me
no.
that doesn't
Frank
understand.
Castle's is just the Punisher skull because Frank Castle, as we all know, the Punisher hates cops. A lot. And if he saw a Punisher skull that was pro-cop, he would really freak out. But Nick Castle?
Oh, my God.
He'd be like, salute your shorts. There we go.
Yep, the Punisher's favorite show. Salute
my God,
your
donkey
shorts.
lips. You nailed it again.
He's like, donkey lips. Oh, my God. 617 on 108.9 The Hunk. It is the Geoff and Whisp Show. It got so much stuff going on. I do have to tell you, Big Truck broadcasting live this morning from Hardtack and Fatback, the Civil War-themed restaurant that just opened here in Val Verde. Have you been down there, Geoff?
Oh, my God.
Have you gone to Hardtack and Fatback yet?
I went for the hardtack and I stayed for the fatback, if you know what I mean.
That's what you got to do.
They really do have a lot of extra bugs in that hardtack. You really got to bang the hell out of it to get those bugs I've gotten in there out.
It's a realistic experience down there.
It's a real reminder that when you're doing cosplay of Civil War times,
you better bang out that hardtack.
You better bang out that hardtack.
I have an announcement that everybody's excited to hear, so let's get to it.
All the news you can use, or the news you can lose. It's news time on 108.9 The Hawk.
Well, Trump's president again. That's not the news. Everybody already knows that.
We all know that.
But I thought, since I am the owner and proprietor of Valverde Valley Radio Partners, what better time to cash in on all the hate, on all of the division, and bring back somebody who, I mean, very, very, very hated in Valverde. Very loved on a certain side, the right side.
Yes.
In Valverde.
Yeah.
Art Spart, you're looking at me. I see you, buddy. And you're giving me, you're going to be doing traffic soon, right?
No.
No.
Why?
Because I know who you're talking about, and I do not agree.
All right. Spart, Jesus.
Wow, Jesus.
Somebody's forgetting his
Somebody
paying for
woke
his...
up on the wrong side of the traffic helicopter.
Oh, my God. Why don't you get in the traffic helicopter, you slob?
Get the frick out of here.
Oh, my God. Of course, I'm talking about the one and only. Welcome him back. He's going to be on every afternoon on NewsRadio.
That's right.
8888, 3 to 7 every weekday, and then the best ofs on the weekends. Willie Crystal.
Hello, losers. It's good to see all of you. It's me, Willie Crystal here. And I want you all to know, first off, when I say losers, I should tell you I've had a change of heart.
Oh, my God.
Willie Crystal's here to announce something that's going to be so staggering, so stunning to you knuckleheads out there.
Oh, there he goes.
To you morons, to you knuckle-dragging idiots, to you, to all those limp-necked losers.
Oh, that's you, Valverde. That's you, in case you were wondering.
Every citizen of Valverde, I only wish that the L.A. County fires had found a way to Valverde to burn it to the ground.
Oh,
My goodness.
Oh, they were close.
And they almost did.
They almost did. They almost did. We were
Well,
very close.
that was
4
my
blocks
wish.
away. 4 blocks,
away.
That was my hope and my wish before I had a complete change of heart.
Scotty, kill the bed. We need to know this, unless you have a bed for a change of heart.
I was sitting by myself, leaving my $15 million home in the Palisades.
Really?
Yes, I had just gone back to the house because, unfortunately, one of the women who work for me, she cleans my house, she cleans my toilet, she cleans me. And I had wanted to take her out and bring her to an ice drop-off station. And I said, why should I make ice? Why should I make the American government spend the money to come to my house to detain the woman who cleans me when I could just drop her off?
Because ice just has those drive-up windows now, like McDonald's.
It's incredible, it's convenient, and it's humane.
And it's the same size. It is a drive-through window. They open it up. You have to lift your person.
Didn't change the speakers either. Like, who are you bringing again?
And you know what's incredible? They have incredible coffee in the morning. Some of the best coffee you're going to have.
Some of the best.
Mick Ice has got some of the best in there.
Mick Ice is incredible, and they're convenient. And listen, they take people. You don't even have to think about it. But I'm going to say something. Everything I'm saying is bringing bile up in my throat.
Really?
So I got up to my house, and unfortunately, it had already burned to the studs.
Well, that's how fire goes, Willie.
It had burned to the studs and everything. I had a collection of muscle men. I collected in the 1980s. Muscle men figure. Remember Muscle Men?
Oh,
remember
yeah.
there
Of
was
course
the
I
cube
do. The
man,
acronym.
There was the little eye. Yes,
Oh,
it
God.
stood
Does
for
it look like a Rubik's Cube?
Yeah.
masculine undulating cock.
My God. My favorite masculine undulating muscle was the one that looked like a bike lock.
I remember that one. I love that. But they were so abstract. It was incredible abstract art for the kids. And it changed me. And I realized then, I'm a Gen Xer.
Yeah, me too. Me too, proudly.
Yeah,
wait, no, I think I'm a boomer.
I was born in
I'm a
1938. I'm a Gen Xer.
Well, that's clearly Gen X then. Nirvana all the way. I was basically the baby on the cover of Nirvana Nevermind.
Exactly. Listen, I was off to that baby.
Oh, well,
Okay?
Willie's back.
That's a
Willie's
Gen X
back,
move, and that's
everyone.
Willie,
Willie's-
all right.
Throw
Yep.
the delay,
You know,
Jesus, Scott.
You said salute my shorts, and I did salute my shorts every day at 4 o'clock by kneeling in front of the television and coming in front of it.
Well, I got to tell you, there goes our Nickelodeon sponsorship, who sponsored the 6 a.m. hour.
Isn't
right
that
here.
what Nickelodeon wanted? I
I
thought
don't think
that's
so.
what Nickelodeon wanted
I don't
because
think so.
that
I
was
don't
the
think
type of programming they were delivering.
According to some creators at Nickelodeon, I do think that's what they want.
I saw a documentary.
I saw a
where
documentary
Nick-
that seemed to
I
prove
saw a
that.
documentary where
you're probably
Nickelodeon
right.
said, "Hey, jerk it to our kids' programming," and
And then you get slimed.
but here and you do
You get
you
slimed
produce
more
the
ways than
slime
one.
and you get slimed. But I want to say something. Everything I'm saying, everything, my whole being changed
Yes.
in that moment. And I realized that if I'm going to be a rebel, if I'm going to fight the system, if I'm going to work for the American dream and the American people, if I'm going to get out there and make sure that every moron and idiot who's in charge gets what's coming to them, that I would have to, when the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House, when Donald Trump and his team have come in and unilaterally changed this country, what I would have said was for the better. But
Wow.
it's inherent in me that I must reject authority. It's in my root programming. And I realize now I am a democratic socialist, a leftist to the core. I support trans rights. I support black rights. I want to rebuild Altadena. I want to make sure that migrants get the justice that they deserve. And I want to burn that McDonald's ICE center to the ground. Wow.
Well, I'm going to say, just from the top, not exactly what I thought I was paying for.
No, not.
I talked
And
to
that's
your
the kind of
agent,
programming
Frank.
you're going to get every single day, 2 times a day. Is you're going to get socialist lectures. You're going to get you're going to get verbally policed. If you say, I don't want you making fun of RFK Jr. for his voice, because that is ableism.
See, I
I
was
want to
working
make
on
sure
it.
that everyone understands that even when we fight against the powers that be, we must do it respectfully and without any sort of tangible disrespect to their physical or potential disability, including mental illness. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very nuanced. It's going to be long discussions with very boring people. And we're going to be doing it every single day, 7 days a week.
I mean, I heard there's a war out there, and
Yeah.
it feels like you're stepping up to the plate and saying, "Hey, let's just take it back a notch." Let's
Gotta
just-
say,
let's
this
just-
completely...
let's fight fire with. Hey, let's chill.
Yeah.
Let's fight fire with some reasonable talk, representing
talk,
workers'
okay.
rights, representing those who can represent themselves.
I will say this, Willie. You've really kind of thrown a little screw into my new Valley News Radio 8888 lineup of course, we've got Sean Hannity, we've got Mark Levin,
Unbelievable.
we've got Trey Gowdy,
Total scum.
we got Buck Sexton.
No, thank you, pal. Buck
Tim Dillon
unsexed
was going to come in he was getting his own
Tim
podcast
Dillon.
network.
And
which
then
was
we were going to go
fantastic.
from the Brian Kilmeade show right into the Willie Crystal show. And frankly, that's
Well,
going to be...
it's now called the Willie Crystal Community of Friends and Compatriots Rebellion Talkcast. And in addition to that, we're going to be inviting. I have for the first. I want to announce this right now.
perfect
I have
time
been
for it,
reaching out to Montessori teachers across this country.
Oh, yeah.
And I have, let me tell you, I've spoken to some women where you can literally smell the yarn through the phone. You can feel their hormones shedding from their bodies as they speak.
All right.
And I respect it and I understand that what women go through is a challenge throughout their bodies.
Really?
Something that men can't understand. And we're going to have these Montessori teachers, all 60 of them, on a group phone call for the first episode. I was going to wait, and I wanted to do it now. I wanted to ask you live on air, can we get an additional 6 hours? because what we're going to be doing is sharing art projects that these children have made for these teachers across the country, and we're going to have to be describing each project because, of course, it's radio.
Well, I will say that I did sign that 10-year contract with you. It
Thank
also
you.
had a clearly wonderful, really,
Legally
really
binding.
legally binding with your
legally
agent
binding.
Frank, who was
I
like,
have
"Oh,
great
Willie's-"
lawyers.
You do, and your agent Frank was like, "Oh, Willie's going to be the old Willie. Don't worry, Wisp." And I'm like, "That's what I'm hiring." And
But instead, it looks like Willie's going to be doing a puppet workshop for revolutionary puppets. Because
Wait, how did you know? How did you know that I'm going to be doing live puppeteering on the radio?
The minute I saw Leonard Peltier was getting clemency, I knew it was like a bat signal coming up from the puppet revolutionaries of 1991.
If you could just give me a moment to talk about Unilocal. Now,
no, we
Unlocal
will talk about that, Willie. We'll talk about that. I just had to text my buddy Lev Parnas and cancel his 3-hour show so you can get that block after you.
It's going to be worth the money.
It's
and,
really.
you know,
Oh, it sounds like it. Oh,
it's going to be worth the money. And I want to. You
Christ.
were so generous in our negotiations.
Yeah,
and
well,
I know, some people would say, my live-in partner. My live-in partner. I used to have a wife. Remember when I used to talk
remember
about
your
that
wife.
bag
Oh.
of bones?
Oh, my God.
I loved
that
her.
old ball and chain.
Oh my God!
You
That
hated
was-
her. You hated her.
I hated her, and
But
she'd
I
be
loved
flapping
her.
her
She was the
jaw.
most beautiful woman in the world outside of Sharon Stone, my ex-wife.
Yes, listen, if we could have swapped, I would have, because then I would have been able to be front row center for the premiere of The Muse, but I wasn't. And I kept saying to you, let's wife swap just for one night so I can go see the premiere of The Muse.
And finally meet
not gonna
Albert
happen.
Brooks.
Not gonna
See,
happen.
your favorite Albert Brooks movie, too, The Muse.
Well, here's the thing. Back then, it was my favorite movie, and I hated all other Albert Brooks movies.
Of
But
course.
ever since this revelation, now I realize that there's a whole body of work that Albert Brooks has done that's just incredible. And now my new favorite film is Looking for Comedy of the Muslim World.
What about
where
the
he
one
really pulled it all together?
What about
My
the
two
one where
favorite,
he's dead?
top 2 Albert Brooks movies. Number 1, Looking for Comedy of the Muslim World. Number 2, The Muse. Least favorite, Mother.
Oh, my God.
Okay,
of
well,
course.
that's for all the motherheads out there in Valverde, that's got to be shocking. Oh, it's
And
great
Defending
to
Your
have-
Life. It's a tie. Defending
it's
Your
a
Life,
tie.
Mother.
Modern
American
problems
Family.
in real life, those don't even get in there.
No,
Those
those
don't
aren't
even
even
count.
included. I
What
wouldn't even
a-
consider the movies.
What a shocking time. I'm going to check my blood pressure in this commercial break, but we'll be back with Willie Crystal celebrating his return
I hope you-
to
yes.
the airwaves with a song that is a tribute to his new return. It's I Fought the Law. It's The Clash on 108.9.
We
The
need a
Hot.
safe Central America. We need a safe Central America,
Oh,
folks.
Christ.
Hello? It's Farmer Dan. If you can hear me, I am locked in the closet in the very back of Barn 4 at Shetland Creameries. See, I had a little union dispute with my cattle. Things got heated. Things were said, probably shouldn't have been said. Next thing I know, they're picking me up. And they're locking me in this closet with a food supply and a water supply, mainly stuff they eat at Shetland Creameries. For over 40 years, you've been coming to Shetland Creameries for your Colby cheese, your Havarti, your milk, and I guess we're still doing that, but I wouldn't know. Because I've been locked in this goddamn closet for 6 days now. So if you hear this commercial, maybe come unlock the door. It could be guarded by a cow named Patrick Dempsey. He's tough. There's no talking sense into that one. So honestly, I don't think you're gonna get by him. And I'm just gonna be stuck here in this goddamn closet at Shetland Creameries.
The only station still playing classic rock. 108.9 The Hawk.
Can't buy a thrill, but you can spend $100 million on a 10-year contract with Willie Crystal to bring him back to the airwaves for you, Valverde. All you right-wing
Thank you so
conspiracist nut jobs who were so excited for Willie Crystal's return. That Steely Dan is for you on the Jeff and Wisp Show, 108.9 The Hawk.
Well, let's talk about it. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of these people who are misguided, okay? They've been misguided and misled. You know, there was a great man who I recently rediscovered named Art Bell. Art Bell.
Now, there is a good man.
Art Bell was a great man.
Yes.
And, you know, I think we've all been taken for a ride. And
Really?
my guess is that the deep state is responsible for this.
Now, you wait. So you're on the other side there.
Beep, 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 back
but
up,
you
back up.
still believe in the deep state.
Well, of course, the deep state cuts either way. You see, here's the beauty of it.
Jeff, did you
If you're an extreme radical leftist,
Okay, not me.
which I am now,
You
okay?
Extreme
I'm
radical.
wearing, as you can see, I'm wearing indigenous clothing. I don't call it Native American clothing anymore. I used to call it my Indian clothes.
You did, and you
That's what
showed
you
me
did, and it
all
was
of your
terrible.
turquoise jewelry every
And
time.
I
you
never
came
wanted to
in.
ask you about that little hat you were wearing that looked
Yeah.
like Zawinel from Weather Report, but you know.
No,
Now it all
because
makes
I,
sense.
you know, the worst part, looking back on it, was that I was confusing also South Asian culture and South American culture.
well, of
so I would
course.
be
Who
wearing
doesn't?
a
Who doesn't?
bindi, but I would also be wearing a headdress I ordered off of a Brady Bunch commemorative collectible website.
Oh, my
where you
God.
could get all of the set dressing from the Grand Canyon vacation. Very cheap. No one was
Everything
buying
Bobby
it.
wanted to wear. You just
Scott,
Everything
will you bring
Bobby
that up on
wanted
my
to wear.
computer? 'Cause I
You
need
remember
to
when
order
Bobby
some
went
stuff
into the
there.
wheelchair? Remember when Bobby crashed his car?
That was the
And then he
best.
was in a wheelchair?
I love
started to think Bobby might have been the most problematic member of the Brady Bunch
You know,
clan.
a lot of people say, jump the shark. When Fonz jumped the shark, that's
right.
a bad thing. I think I like to say, get in the chair, which is
That's
when
right.
Bobby got in the chair and it made the show
He rolled
better.
the car. He didn't jump the shop. He rolled the car.
He rolled the car.
But you know, I now wear indigenous clothing. I cite,
clearly.
in fact, if you ever want me to, I will list each individual tribe or culture from which
we
each
don't-
piece of clothing came from, and I can
we
do
don't
it.
have
And
to.
I saw
We
you
have
doing
to,
that to Scotty.
You
and
were
he
telling
wasn't
Scotty,
asking
and
for it. I
Scotty was
could
just
tell.
shaking his head, just like, I don't know which one. But Willie, I mean, you made this great turn here. How do you think your audience, the Willie Crystal Army,
right.
in
Yes.
Valverde, how are they going to take to it?
Well, and I just do want to say that I do have Guillaume eyeglasses on. This is
Of course.
these are Guillaume crafted and a Kuna neck top, a neck holder. Okay,
we're making
and
this
the
clear on the
macro
Japanese
Chibichan pantaloons. You can't see them, but they are pretty incredible.
They are
And I
incredible.
wanna-
If only you were in the rock and roll RV right now with me and Willie and Jeff.
But the deep state. Let's get back to what really matters,
Yes.
just for a moment.
Deep state.
Did anyone notice that Art Bell? This is serious, by the way. This is a very serious point I'm making, actually.
Oh, it's
If
clearly.
anyone noticed that Art Bell seemed to have those awful dispersions cast on him about him being someone who was saluting his shorts. Let's put it that way.
Let's just
okay?
leave it at that.
Let's just
A
leave
lot
it
of people
there.
don't know this, but this was what took out Art Bell were false accusations of him enjoying salute your shorts too much. Let's put it that way. Let's just put it
Okay.
that way.
Okay.
I think we all know what you mean. I think we all know what I mean when we say we're spending a little too much time watching salute your shorts and
Gotcha.
we're a grown adult.
It's like
And-
someone double dared him to do it.
We're going, ooh, can I? Yeah. So can someone double dare me to watch and see if that kid's shorts spread open a little too wide?
Hey, dude, I'll be over here doing this.
Finders keepers. You know what I'm saying?
Anyway,
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Hey, you can't do that on television. Get out of here.
Yeah, you can't do that.
But you can
anywhere.
do it on terrestrial radio. I'll tell
You
you
could
that.
do it on a
do it on radio.
VHS
Nobody uses
recorder. You could
Oh,
do it on a VHS recorder in the back of a bike shop, Dudley. Now, here's the point.
Two episodes about child molestation on different strokes. But that's a different topic.
That's a whole different, network.
But I do want to say,
Yes,
Art
Willie.
Bell, those accusations were false. But Art
Really?
Bell, yes, they were false. They were false. And Art
Now,
Bell
did you hear
disappeared.
this? Did somebody call you on the west of the Rockies line and tell you this information?
Yes, and they called me on the west of the Rockies line, which, of course, I've had now piped into my own home. And by my own home, I mean a Staybridge Suites that I currently live in because I
You're
lost
welcome.
my home.
You're welcome.
Yes.
You're
I love
welcome.
Staybridge.
That's part of the Staybridge. That's their slogan.
That's where Staybridge, where divorced dads go to commit suicide.
That jingle.
But a
was
great
the best.
buffet. Great buffet.
But a great buffet.
What a
It's
great
just one-
buffet to end your life at.
It's just one dad with like
3 types of eggs, lots
He's
of
got-
sad dads. That's
a dad with a-
sweets.
a dad
Don't-
with a bag and a sterno inside. Staybridge.
Don't look up. Those aren't chandeliers. Those are just dead men swinging from their nooses.
It's like any Staybridge. You go into the lobby. It's like you are in that part of Haunted Mansion.
Oh,
where
that's
it's
right.
expanding. You look up and it's like, oh, there's the skeleton hanging. There, I must be at
That's just a
Staybridge.
divorced dad
Scary.
right there.
Staybridge
That's very
Suites. Thank
scary.
you.
And then you look
Yes.
in the mirror and there's a ghost next to you.
Oh my
now,
God, Christ!
right around then,
Uh-huh.
he disappears. And who shows up right around 9/11? Alex Jones. Alex Jones literally shows up within about a year of Art Bell going off the air. And it is a very interesting period. If you look back and think about when you went to the occult bookshop, when you went to the conspiracy bookstore,
Every
we
day.
were buying things for countercultural purposes. We were
Yes.
looking at it saying, hey, the CIA lied about JFK. They lied about MLK. They lied about Vietnam and Team B. They were trying to create a
Created
militaristic
COINTELPRO. They
state.
had MK Ultra. They definitely
Absolutely.
possibly had help with Manson and had him ingrained. And that's also, by the way, great. But either way, yes.
And the point being, if you think about it, the military-industrial complex, the warning was incorrect by Eisenhower. The warning was not the military-industrial complex. It was the espionage complex. It was, in fact, the control of the civilian military post-World War II that was the biggest threat to industrialism and monoparty rule by both parties, but with one singular mission, which was to destabilize other parts of the world, remove détente, and make sure that the United States defeated the Soviet Union, and it didn't matter at what cost. And the point being is that we live in the echo of a deep state 30 or 40-year mission that its greatest usurpation was taking the countercultural movement of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, which was the challenging and questioning and truthing of these operations, including MK Ultra, including the programming of different people, including all of these ideas, and rearranging it so that the voice of opposition was actually right-leaning and not left. This then continued for the last 24 years, then putting in place the very figurehead, Donald Trump, who is representative of a secondary deep state takeover, which is why you see the purge of so many CIA and FBI talking heads placed on MSNBC, CNN, and so on after the 9/11 attacks and the journey into the war, because, and I'll explain to you why, because this purge was removing the taskmasters and the paper pushers who were not aware of the deeper system underneath their surface system that was related to the Pentagon.
Well, I got to say, that's a lot to take in there, Willie. Let's take a moment to think about that and check in with Big Truck down at Hardtack and Fatback.
Okay, here we go. Hey, everybody. Is the mic on?
There it is,
Okay.
Big Truck. There you go.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Big Truck. Toot, toot. Welcome to you. I'm down here at Hardtack and Fatback now. It's a Civil War-themed restaurant down here on Hog Street in Valverde. Now, who we got in there in the studio, Geoff?
Oh, we got Willie Crystal. He's back, baby.
Oh, my God, Willie Crystal.
That's right. Peace be upon you, my friend.
What?
I said, peace be upon you in all permutations, in all cultures, and most importantly, to recognize our own privilege and the fact that we are representing and holding up white identity as some sort of standard bearer by which we can all guide ourselves through, as opposed to understanding the multiplicity of cultures that built the United States.
Willie's gone through a lot lately.
Man, the last time I saw you, we was down at Burger Tools, and you were going through there. You were going through the line. You were getting the number 13, the JTT. And I said, hey, Willie, it's me, Big Truck, toot, toot. And you turned at me, and you called me a shit lip.
That's right. I do remember that. I remember
I wanted to beat the shit out of you. I wanted to beat the holy fucking shit out of you. I almost took my truck and ran it right through Burger Tools because I am a liberal man. I'm rubbing my nose because I did a little cocaine before coming out here to do this.
Do what you want to do, my friend. I got to tell you, I want to apologize to you, and I want to tell you that I recognize the hurtful words that I used towards you were denigrating you for simply having a position that is yours to hold, and I respect it.
Well,
yeah, this is the new
Will. I don't know if I
that
trust
we've
this.
got
I don't
here.
know if I like it.
Yeah, he's a lot more cordial, but
I think it's a trick. I
It
almost
feels
feel
like a
like it's a
trick when you're
trick, Jeff. But I'll
there's
tell you
no
one.
way.
I'll tell you one thing that's not a trick. Hardtack and Fatback, come on down here. If you love the Civil War, or even if you don't love the Civil War, every meal it's brother against brother. It's like fucking Shelby Foots down here. You remember him? He was the old bastard in that Ken Burns documentary. He was like, well, I know a lot about the Civil War. And it's like, all right, Shelby Foot, we fucking get it. But we got the Shelby Foot combo down here. We got the who was that motherfucker that took all the pictures at Antietam? Was it Matthew Davis? Was that his name? I think his last name was Dave.
seems about right to me.
I think it was right. I don't give a shit. But come on down here and check out all of his pictures. Man, you could be eating a big old piece of the hardest fucking hardtack you've ever tasted. And three of your goddamn teeth, they just roll right out of your head while you're looking at all the bodies we lost, all the men we lost, all them boys who died at Antietam. And I'm going to be out here till 9 p.m.?
9 p.m. You got scheduled. I'm heading home. And then,
Shit, I'm going to be out here literally for what? Fucking 13 more hours? Well, come on out. Free balloons. That's all I got to say. Back up to you guys in the studio.
My God. Geez.
Oh, I was taking a shit. What happened?
Oh, the big truck ain't leaving Fatback and Hardtack. I'll tell you, that's what happened.
Oh, my God. Did he find out he's there till 9 p.m.?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wish you could have heard him. He did not sound happy about it.
Well, he must have been happy about that. And for Big Truck down at Hardtack and Fatback, Hog Street, I know he's having a good time, so let's hear the cars. Good times roll on the hog.
Do you like peanut brittle? How about circus peanuts? Got a hankering for some rock candy? How about some old-timey stick candy? Well, partner, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Stinky's, Valverde's favorite all-purpose general store on the side of the interstate. Many people have said, one store can't hold all that bullshit, and Stinky's is here to say, yes! We can. Maybe you're on the road and your favorite t-shirt that says, I'm a stinky stinker on it, got some gravy splashed. Well, there's only one place you're gonna get a replacement for that. Stinky's! Interstate, I can drive 55. We'll see you then.
He's a teacher with a heart of gold trying to get through to his inner city students. She's a princess who knows all the right dance moves. Together, they're gonna teach these kids algebra through the latest dance fad. In the 1987 classic known mostly for its extensive copyright legal battles, Mark Harmon, Ray Don Chong, and WWF superstar Rowdy Roddy Piper in Stephen King's The Running Man. Nope, not the Schwarzenegger one. This one's based off the dance move in one sentence in a Stephen King short story. Channel 8, your home for great shit.
Of course, every time you hear Take Me Home Tonight, Eddie Money, that's of course brought to you by the fine folks at Sharney's. Anytime you hear Eddie Money, you know you got to be heading down to Sharney's. 108 buffets right now, 56 locations in Valverde. That's Sharney's, baby.
No one eats for free at Sharney's.
No one eats for free at Sharney's.
It's a good reminder, though, that they do have the One Money buffet. And that's the one that Eddie Money made himself before he died. And there is just hidden $100 bills in the various puddings and pies.
Oh, you could.
Oh,
go
no,
down
I
there.
just gave a little hint. It might be dessert.
It's in the pudding and pies.
Also, check the cantaloupe. Check the cantaloupe.
Well,
there is a hole in the cantaloupe, and that is for putting money in it.
That's
no, that's actually not what the hole in the cantaloupe is.
Are you
Really?
Oh,
Are
no,
you
Willie.
sure, Willie?
No,
My God.
I'm pretty positive.
You were saluting your shorts down at Shardy's.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
I always
said it
bring
again.
Salute Your Shorts on a VR. I bring an Oculus 3. I play Salute Your Shorts on it, and then I pretend to walk up to one of the counselors And I put I then have the melon possession just where I need it to be.
Wow.
Oh my God.
See, I've heard a lot about VR, but I have not heard about the Salute Your Shorts VR that is out, and all the kids, all the rage. Meta put it together, and it's just
Meta's been producing a lot of incredible Nickelodeon-based material. VR, it's called Nick and Tight. And it's Nick is Tight, and it's where it was right before the documentary came out. You know, it's funny. They actually unreleased it. You see, the documentary came out, and the kid from Saved by the the head of the class, and it was so crazy to realize that the kid from head of the class was the top pervert.
I thought we were going to be talking Mario Lopez, one of my good best friends in the entire world. And I would have to stand up, and I would have to throttle you just a little bit.
Oh, well, don't worry. You won't have to throttle me because, first off, the pervert on Saved by the Bell is Mr. Belding.
Oh, that is very true. That is very true.
Well,
it's almost as if whoever the adult is on a pre- or mid-teen show just happens to also be someone who wants to diddle kids.
Now, the beauty is this isn't a conspiracy that you need to be left or right on. This is just truth. This is just seemingly
It just
fact.
seems like maybe it was a bad idea to create a whole segment of programming where young, impressionable tweens spend hours and hours.
This is why I always kept my eye on Barf from, well, you can't do that on television.
Well, that's why they always had Barth separated from the kids by that booth.
Yes.
If you notice, Barth is always leaning over the booth. Very rarely does he ever interact.
I heard that. And they were talking about what a creep he was.
Well, because he's coming almost all the time.
Behind the booth.
His lines. He's coming.
He doesn't have time to shave because he's too busy coming all the time.
And Willie Crystal is coming back to Valley News Radio 8888. We're all so excited here.
Now, I do think our audience is going to be shocked, I got to say. And I think this is going to be a little taste of their shows. And I got to ask, Willie, do you feel a little guilty? Do you feel guilty for going all those years down this right-leaning path and maybe to help set up where we're at right now?
I feel no responsibility for it whatsoever. And I'll tell you why.
Really? Okay.
I feel none, and I'll tell you why. Because I've always been on the side of truth. And truth knows no partisanship. Okay? What we've learned over the last couple of months is that the capitalist system does not work. And that a market-based system doesn't work, that shareholders are not voters, and that we need to have the state seize all businesses. The state must seize industry, must create competing industry where it can, and we must move ourselves beyond an economy that is for the top 1%, but instead a worker ownership partnership in which we eventually elevate ourselves out of the idea of a 5-day work week, of 40-hour work days, work weeks, 8-hour days.
I'm
of
all
work.
for the $40-hour work day here at Valverde Valley Radio Partners. I have been pushing that. I have been pushing that.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense to allow these charlatans. And the reason why is I can still hate the Democrats. And let me make it very clear. Yes, because the Democrats have been the progenitors. Here's the great thing to learn, despite the fact that Trump is, as you know now, I can't stand Trump. I can't stand what's happening now.
Let's not go so far.
But what I can say is that Democrats have controlled this country for out of the last 20 years, 16 years has been Democrat control. Out of the last 20 years, Democrats have run this country. So when we talk about Elon Musk, when we talk about the genius, when we talk about all these folks, we are seeing that Democrats flirted with the oligarchy and they lost. They were just too boring. So the great enemy of the state and of the people, if we're going to be rebellious, if we're going to fight the system is the entire thing. And I want to go on record that I stand with Luigi Mangione. I love his
We got a little bit of that Willie fire in our hearts.
There's a little bit of the Willie fire.
This
but
is what I'm saying. What's more right-wing than running up and shooting someone in the street that you disagree with.
I mean,
I support that type. And this is the point. Left-wingers are right-wingers. Left-wingers are right-wingers. You could almost think of it as a horseshoe.
I've never heard this. A horseshoe. Is this like a theory you have?
A horseshoe. Could one call this the horseshoe theory?
It is a theory I've been developing where when you look at the extremity of the left and the extremity of the right, what I realized in the fires of the Palisades was that when I am thinking about ruining...
In Altadena, Willie.
In Altadena, but I was in the Palisades.
No, I know that.
So he's concerned about the ones he was in.
Oh, okay. You didn't see the other ones, so you're not sure if it happened?
I don't care about any other fires but the ones that happened to me.
Okay. That feels a lot more like old Willie to me, so I'm kind of getting my money's worth.
And I'll tell you, I'll tell you something else, to be quite honest with you. I think the best thing that happened was that that finally we got rid of these inherently racially based neighborhoods, because that's not what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about every man for himself. And, when I think about it, I think that these limp-wristed losers, these people in the military...
That's you. Military.
I'll tell you one thing I do support. I do support getting rid of women and getting rid of gays and getting rid of the trans in the military.
We're back.
The only people who should be fighting in the military are strong men. Hot, rippling men with their big, sweaty cocks running around in the nude, wrestling with each other, fighting each other to death, and then being sent to the slaughter wherever they go. Whatever
I gotta
country
say,
they
Willie
go
is
to.
showing his age in the proper way of just very confused older man politics.
Yeah, you're like,
where it's that type of horseshoe to just keep spinning, where you're like, oh my god, I can't.
I am spinning. Hold on, wait a minute. I'm spinning. I feel myself spinning. I don't know what's happening to me. It's almost as if I inhaled so much lead paint when I was leaving my home. Hold on, just for a moment. Wait a minute. 9/11 was it was an inside job, but it was an inside job by the deep state, not those heroic Israelis who are doing the job that we won't do, which is finishing off this scourge in the Middle East. And Donald Trump was successful by rubbing the Democrats' faces in their own shit by having the inauguration in the rotunda where his own people took the Capitol. So that means that
this is a beautiful
women
lifestyle.
I don't know what to believe.
Are vessels to have children and should not be deciding what they do with their own bodies, and the age of consent should be lowered to, salute my shorts, 12.
Well, I'm so glad.
There we go.
Willie,
I mean,
you don't
it's
have
like
to
a
say
horseshoe on a
else,
stick
Willie.
right now. I'm just
multiple marriages should be allowed.
And know
let's
what the
face
show's
it,
gonna be.
Indians live in canyons, and the Bradys go and visit them, which means that we should take those reservations and we should clear them out with ice, send those folks down south of the border where they belong, and finish the job of conquering America. I'm back. Wait a minute.
Look at that, Willie Crystal. That was like when you're playing a game of horseshoes and you get a ringer, and it just keeps spinning around the pole.
Oh, my goodness.
Combined with The Ringer, the podcast network, which had some of the best politics ever. And just dead
Where
on.
is Ashton Kutcher? Because I think, I got punked.
I'll admit it. I was playing a little bit of a game with you boys. Do you ever think in a million years that I would talk to one Montessori teacher?
Never.
Absolutely not. I could.
We all love your Fuck Montessori School segment. It was one
and
of the
the
best.
T-shirts. We are getting ready to sell so many of those
Well,
T-shirts.
you know
right
that segment where I go, do you play with your own shit in the toilet? You must have gone to Montessori.
Oh, my God. And that segment is going to be brought to you on the Willie Crystal Show by Food Gulch. Everything that fell in the gulch, Food Gulch.
All of the food that fell in the gulch
Oh, I gotta say, Willie, you really pulled one on us. It was almost like it was Prank Saturday right here on 108.9.
You know, I had to do something. You just gave me so much money, and I wanted to put a scare into you that you just spent the word. I'll tell you right now, I actually have been speaking to the folks at Food Gulch. We want to build replicas of Dachau and Auschwitz in every state in the Union, and we want to start putting liberals. Women who refuse to give over autonomy of their bodies to men. Right. Of course, the LGBTQ TIA community, immigrants, and eventually disagreeable Jews.
We're going to have Skeet Ulrich in the next hour. He's coming in to talk about what?
Macrame.
Macrame.
Okay,
well, that sounds great.
I guess he'll stink like pussy.
That's another T-shirt you can get from the Willie Crystal Show when his show is back on later this afternoon. I'd say, when you think about it, we're right here at Valverde Radio Partners. We're kinda taking care of business. Ha!
You're listening to 108.9 The Hawk.
Anthony, welcome back to 108.9 The Hawk.
Hello. I don't. You know, it's so funny how unfun it is to have a character be like good.
It is.
Yeah, it is terrible.
It's because you want to play the most evil shit in every character.
I do, because I feel like, and I've had those. We've all, I think, had these probably conversations with comedy friends of just like, oh, I don't like the asshole character or the lovable asshole character anymore. And I'm just like, no. I still do. Like, because I still am, most of humanity feels that way.
Yeah. Wisp is usually a monster. I think he's mellowed out a little bit, but like, I played the drone music. I was full on. Wisp has an army of drones that he's taken out a lot of his enemies in Valverde with. It's like 145 drones that he was ready to just aim at your stay bridge.
Well, I think I
think especially if Willie was going to be such a milquetoast. You know what I mean? Like a milquetoast good character where you're like, it was super fun that you were going down that path of just like, I'm just going to talk to people. Like, clearly Willie would share a meme. Clearly would have a great infographic. Yeah. But also still after all these years not know how to read any scientific information that comes in right. Anything about socio-political
never see
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
You never, here's the thing is what I do realize thinking about just now is the only thing you ever see is someone who like they voted for Clinton or whatever and now somehow they become a crazy right winger. You only see that with older people.
Yeah.
I've never seen an older person who was like, I was hardcore like crazy and now I'm like easygoing.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. It's only the other direction. So it's funny how it goes to human nature, I think, in some ways, which is every one of us, I think, has in us when we feel powerless. Mm-hmm. We have that inner dictator in us that wants to just correct things by killing whatever the problem is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like stopping. And it is, I think that the one lesson to take from this depiction of a character is that every person is their own little Willie Crystal. Every person has that part of them, and that's why we hate it so much, and that's why we hate what's happening so much, is we kind of hate that won out, and it's not, I think, because we think it's bad. I think it's because it's like not getting in on Bitcoin. I think it is more like people being like, why didn't I just realize I could be a hateful fuck and like it would be okay?
Yeah.
If
I think a lot of people feel that way, that they're pissed. Yes, that a lot more people would have been hateful fucks who didn't give a shit. I think a lot of people are posers.
I think about it a lot that like it would come up when I was teaching sketch, and I think we would talk about this before, where it'd be like, you can make that joke, but is that the joke you want to make?
Right.
Like, and I would always be like, oh, right, I'm not considering like, and not that I'm like, just like that I came from a world of hardcore and punk, so then was bringing that into where I'd be like, this joke is kind of offensive and you can make it.
Yep.
But do you want to make that joke? Like, do you want this to, and I would always at the time be like, you can make Human Centipede, But do you want to make Human Centipede?
But do you want to be the person who makes Human Centipede? Well,
and
yeah.
If you do, great.
Yeah.
Like, that's fantastic. And because we've also seen now so many people that are just like, yeah, I'm fine making Human Centipede. Have you seen my Patreon numbers?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that it's beyond the fact that it's just hacky.
Yeah.
That's just boring.
Yes.
Like that, but that people and that this weird idea of, well, it's very popular, so a lot of people are into it, so it must be.
Well, you know what it is?
Must be good.
I was talking with someone else about this today, which is I think the thing, you think of the success of a lot of mediocre comics who did not have great stage careers, but they've had great podcast careers, right?
Oh,
like
God,
stellar podcast careers.
Yes.
And what you realize is that the mediocrity in this world is predicated on the fact that, like myself, with the bullshit things I like to watch sometimes, not podcasts, but I watch Vegas Matt, who gambles all the time, and I love Vegas Matt. And I legitimately will say, I'm not backing on Vegas Matt. I actually legitimately enjoy watching him play the slots and talking to his son and his WBG and all that. Because to me, it's my background stuff. I put it on washing the dishes, right? And the truth of the matter is that this success has come from the accessibility of putting on background noise. And that's the thing. If you're okay with being background noise, which I think some people are, right?
Yeah.
And also then there's the secondary bubble that's been created in Austin of this sort of like, oh my God, dude, legend kind of energy, which 20-year-old, 18-year-old boys love.
Yes.
Like teen boys love, oh my God, he's a legend, dude. And they love that someone else is that, and they can vicariously, and we know that from the hardcore scene.
Yeah.
Then you think about people back in that time that you were like, oh my God. Or I think about my days in like some of my friends' apartments over the summers, the things that we like thought were legendary behavior. And then you think about it now and you're like, I like stayed on a sofa for 10 days and didn't shower and like did drugs. That's not legendary.
No.
But at the time it is. Right?
All the stories we've talked about, all the stories of hardcore, you'll be like, there was this guy who did this thing like at a show all the time. And then you're like, oh, wait a second. To a normal person, I'm just describing mental illness.
Right.
Like I'm describing a sociopath. I'm describing like a narcissistic bipolar person.
Yeah.
Like, but then I'm like, but I'm really talking about Rick to Life. The singer of 25 to Life. But I'm like, wait, I'm just basically giving you a diatribe of like this poor person's like whether it be mental illness, socioeconomic thing, like everything. Like and so and it's frustrating. And the thing with Willie is always interesting to me is it is like he always just reminds me of my first therapist I went to for a very long time, who I loved him, but he was an Upper East Side New York guy who was 75 and like clearly was liberal at one point and still maybe consider he does, but he really liked Trump because he was a big, strong guy. And he would, the way he talked about like feminists and like lesbians, I would have these moments of being like, I don't know if this is helping me. And you're kind of like the Oh Hello characters, like, which is why I thought those were two genius characters.
Yeah.
Like these terrible human beings. And it's just shocking. Like, I agree with what you're saying. Like, because I, though, think, like, isn't that then a goal? Like, for me, it's like a goal of, like, let's get fucking older and not be as much of that person. Like,
that's
that
the
to
goal.
me feel like that is the
goal
fucking
is
end
to
goal.
not give a shit. Listen, this I think a psychological thing that happens as you get older, the same way parts of your body age. I think your brain and your psyche go through chambers of experience, and I think it's just natural that you experience time, and more time you experience, your brain and your neural pathways refine experience over time. So therefore, it changes, and I don't know what it will hold in the future, but what I think is that the idea of casting off concerns about how people see you and all that, right? It is almost like a secondary adolescence that you go through that I think what happens is a lot of people get attracted to that fuck it all energy again in the wrong way. And I think that the goal is to go, no, I can cast off these things. And what I can do is be accessible not only to younger people, but to my peers, be accessible and open to being more gentle, more understanding, more open. And that doesn't mean weakness. And I think that we are conditioned in a society where gentility, being genteel or being understanding or listening or calm is somehow weakness. And I know for me, it's been a long journey to undo the fact that I do not have to be hostile and aggressive and unforgiving and petty. That I can
Think
actually
about how
be
insane our conversations.
Yes.
If we listened to you and me when we first met, 15, 20 years, some crazy amount ago, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like in talking on the shit, like the amount, like if a recording of us talking about David Icke, whatever it was.
It would be crazy.
But because we are both, I think, on that goal of like, you know, and going to with what my old therapist, the one who I was just talking about, but would often say, just like, everyone gets older, not everyone grows up. Like, and it's like, yeah, we're surrounded by a bunch of people who get older.
Yes. Well,
but
they have
if they're becoming their second, like, childhood.
Yes.
They haven't gotten older yet. Now they're just like,
it's called carrying. Well, this is a psychological term called carrying it forward, which is carrying parts of you forward, which means that I've been doing it, which is parts therapy, which is just you take a moment to envision parts of yourself at different stages of your life, different ages. And you invite them to come with you, not to live with you, because then you're taking them out of their time, but to come visit and see what it's like to be in your shoes now.
I drove in a car with mine the other day in therapy.
Yes. I was running with mine because there's this person who I really hated viscerally, and I couldn't understand why until I realized the reason I viscerally hate them is they remind me of people who talked down to me when I repeated 7th grade. These these private school teacher ladies who talked to me like I was Aboriginal and they were like a colonialist.
Right.
And I knew I was smart, and I was 12, 13, and I didn't know how to assert that I was smart and not be treated dumb. And so I interact with someone who reminded me of that. And so my visceral, violent reaction to them, like inside, not outside, but inside, of wanting to literally visions of violence against this person. Mm-hmm. And I had to go, I got to figure out what's going on. Why am I having this? That is the difference, I think, in terms of, do I grow up? Do I continue to be a victim of my cycles? Or do I start to look at my cycles and start to understand them and understand that I can't end things? Anyone out there listening, you cannot run away from who you are. You cannot stop a part of you. None of that's possible. All you could do is integrate who you are to the best of your ability and accept that it's not bad or good. It's just who you are. And that's like the best advice I can give anybody.
I do think, honestly, having a 7-year-old who's super into Star Wars even solidifies it over and over, because they'll ask about real life. Like, is that person good or bad?
Right.
Or he was asking, and I'm just like, it's not like he was asking about the Wicker Man, because I had played him Matt Berry. And I was like, and he really likes the song Gather Up by Matt Berry off of Kill the Wolf. And I was like, this sounds like the Wicker Man soundtrack. Let's listen to that. And then I was trying to explain to him, and I was like, yeah, Count Dooku plays Lord Summerisle. And he's like, is he good or bad? I was like, honestly, buddy.
Complex.
Yeah, it's complicated, like a lot of life. I was like, and I'm always trying to tell him, I was like, Star Wars is not good, or Star Wars is good and bad. Like the 4, 5, and 6, and then they put in good and bad is mushy in 7, 8, 9. Yeah. But I was like, welcome to life. But then you're like, man, there are a lot of people who walk around thinking life is Star Wars. There are a lot of people. Yeah. And then I sit there just going like, I can't believe you're an adult and you like any president. Like, well, it doesn't even matter about that, you know, and like, take that as the biggest thing, but that you like president. Like, it's just like,
do you like any person who you know is a corrupt, dirty, filthy murderer at the end of the day? And I mean, I had that spell break for me just this election cycle, because I sort of went back into it. I went back into believing harder than I ever had before.
Sure.
And then I was like, why? And I was like, oh, because I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I was like, why am I afraid? And I'm afraid because I have a machine feeding me fear.
Yeah.
And it's not, to anyone out there listening to this who is of the, you know, I know I'm a cis white male who's 50. I know that I'm the last person on the list who's going to get shit.
Yeah.
So I'm well aware that there are people whose fear is immediate and palpable right now. So it's not like, oh, I saying that what I'm about to say is not about the world, the external things, but it's about internally understanding that fear is not real because it's in my mind and it's projected. And that if I think about it this way, in the times we're in, if it is really unfolding to be terrible, like to a degree that's almost like society breaking, I want to reserve my energy and be the best I can when I have to meet the moment.
Yeah.
As opposed to panicking and
Yeah.
virtue signaling just for the sake of scoring points so that people know I'm a good person.
Right.
Right.
I'd rather
No, I get it.
tangibly be good when it needs to happen in a real physical way, right?
I mean, I think it sometimes for me goes back to like, all right, this was the lowest level of situationist politics that I was reading about, and like where it's like the revolution of everyday life by Raoul Van Heim. A big chunk of it to me was always like, fucking work on yourself right now.
Work on yourself,
like, to
man.
Fucking, and combined
it
with
small.
the Chaos Machine. I think this book was fucking great.
Ooh,
just
I want to
'cause
read that. I
you
haven't read
should.
that.
It's just about the history of the algorithm and how it's just like, and how it can, and it's kind of changed my brain with this cycle. Jason has heard about this. Like to just
Jason
be like,
looks exhausted.
I got to get the fuck out of here with this fucking algorithm. Like it's like it exists to destroy me.
Oh,
like,
I've
it exists
totally
to
left
destroy
it.
all of us.
Well, this is before we go, because I do have
Yeah.
to go because my
Yes,
wife's
you
going to
do.
kill me. That what
Not
I'll
I was going to
say.
say, no other fucking podcast is going to give you the dumbest Eddie Money jokes and then the deepest fucking interview at the end. That's 108.9 The Hawk, you slobs.
Exactly.
Well, I just wanted to say that we're gonna have to consider we've been on this onward and upward trajectory now for I think pretty much since post-war. And a lot of it came out of the 50s and technological evolution and this idea that was tied to the Soviet and Chinese race that we were, sort of racing against China and Russia. And I think that we need to look at the fact that we're still running a race that no one's really running anymore.
Yeah.
And that instead we're running a foot race for convenience and manipulation, not for great achievements, civilizational achievements.
Yes.
And the question being, do we need an algorithm? Do we need to have so much entertainment so available in so many ways? Do we?
No.
Like the question being, why are we continually like a fucking addict at a casino just sitting at the table going, I just got to keep playing blackjack and not even considering, forget even leaving the casino, not even playing other table games.
Yeah.
Like we are just playing one fucking thing over and over again. And that's our problem is I don't know, like I've just done the steps to get off of social media to the degree where I only use it to promote now or put a picture of my dog. I'm never looking at it for anything. I'm never going on and
That's so
going,
healthy.
let me see what Instagram's going to give me. I don't care.
Yeah.
My wife will send me stuff. She'll go, look at this. It's like a dog video, and I'll go, great, that's fine. But
Jason will send me TikToks, and I go, I can't open them. I don't have TikToks. Stop sending them.
Yeah, I don't have TikTok
They're funny
either.
classic rock related ones, though. That's all it is. Maybe
Yes,
a dog or two.
and you
Maybe
do
a
find
dog.
old stuff that, listen, I do find old things that are cool, but the sad thing is even if you look at that for a second, then suddenly it starts feeding you, and before you know it, you're getting fed fucking
And you just keep going.
a right-wing fight or some kind of
God,
sovereign citizen argument. Although I do love the sovereign citizens. Gotta love the sovereign citizens.
Gotta love them.
Anthony,
All right,
thank you so
thank
much for
you.
coming on 108.9
I
The
love
Hawk.
coming on here.
It's so much fun. It's always the best. And we'll see you all next time on 108.9 The Hawk.
108.9 The Hawk with Jason Gore and Jeff Garlock.
A comedy podcast about a fictional classic rock radio station.
Hear and see new episodes every Monday. Subscribe on YouTube,
Apple Podcasts,
Spotify,
Pocket Casts.
Overcast, and wherever you get your podcasts. Support the show by going to patreon.com/1089 The Hawk. Get video and audio episodes 1 week early, bonus shows, and so much more.
more. Get that merch by going to our website at 1089thehawk.com. And if you like what you heard in this episode, you can check out a ton of 108.9 The Hawk episodes on our website at 1089thehawk.com or wherever you get your podcasts. A comedy podcast about a fictional classic rock radio station. 108.9 The Hawk with Jason Gore and Jeff Garlock.